a utility slot as well, which I can't remember what I used it for. Just kickies and droggers, like with long range.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it plays out. I know there's going to be a game, and all right, yeah, well, we should start up now. All right. Triangles and people that I haven't talked to in a while. I'm your host, Sabbat, for the Triglavian Times, the clusterfuck that hasn't been doing a show in, what, almost 4 months?
It's been a minute.
Since I just kind of was like, fuck this game, Grandma. I'm here with one of my co-hosts, Kylon.
Triangle.
I've got Drake Iddon.
Yeah.
And Zeeroak.
Hello.
So Fanfest drug me back into the game. I figured this would be a good start. I haven't really started playing. I've just logged in a couple times to get myself organized and ready to play again. So we'll go down the list really quick of fun things you guys, you guys, Kylon and Zero, you guys watched it on there. Like, what was your favorite thing from FanFest? For me, besides Havoc, that'll be a big topic for us, was the angel ships. Those got me. They are pretty as fuck.
There's some of the, I can't remember what they're called now, the destroyers are roaming about now, and they're pretty powerful. I wouldn't say they're as powerful as the Mamba, but they look pretty good. Just as better arty thrashers, basically.
Yeah.
For me, I think I'll be a bit controversial. I really enjoyed some of the reveals of, like, Vanguard, for example. Obviously, the jury's out on whether it's actually going to be a good thing for us, but you'd expect it to bring some numbers if it's done competently. And I was just pleased that, it's alive, right? It's kind of pre-alpha, but it's alive.
Yeah, they finally released it to the public. But yeah, it's essentially trying to keep the Soul of Dust in and actually have a start that it really needs and not hamstrung by terrible hardware or any deals with publishers like Sony. So that's really good. And the fact that it's the way they're trying to do it is if you have an Omega, you can play it, is kind of strange because you'd think they'd have like an alpha version of it to get people into the game from the FPS community and then say, well, if you get Omega, you get all these extra bonuses in Vanguard, and also, by the way, you can play EVE Online if you want.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be quite difficult to convert people from Vanguard into EVE Online via Omega subscription, right? I mean, I'm thinking like maybe a two-tiered thing where, get people through the door, foot in the door in Vanguard with a small subscription cost, and they can top it up to Omega proper or something. But I can't think of a clean way of doing it.
Kylon?
Yeah, I mean the new ships are definitely exciting. I don't know. I'm into maps and stuff, so I really like that there's a new route out there, and being there when the gate. I was there in Curse when the gate came on, and watching everyone file into a new system for the first time. That was pretty damn exciting.
Oh, what? Drake, you logged in on your other account?
Nah, yeah, 1 second.
He's spying on
Now I can hear
himself.
myself. Fuck.
Drake had his own instances with his Discord, which I got to hear the fun story about when we were at FanFest.
Oh yes, that's a pretty epic story actually.
Okay, there we go.
So,
move one tab to a different screen.
So at FanFest, I got to chill with Drake. which was fun. I got to stare, if you guys, saw, I put it on, I think it was on Zoria's Discord. I was like, yes, I stared lovingly into Drake's eyes.
As we waited for hours for that
fucking food
at that restaurant
Yeah.
to serve, because we're in the fucking corner and the cutscene fucking ordered.
But yeah, I got to meet a bunch of cool cats. Drake was the same. He got to try to harass him more.
I spent so much time. I was just going to go out there, speak to a few people, speak to a few CCP guys, and then do some holiday stuff. And the exact opposite happened. Was I was just only speaking to people non-stop. Like, I couldn't go like 5 minutes without someone else like saying, "Oh yeah," and like wanted to talk to me about something.
Yeah, you had it on your, all the stuff that you do behind the scenes. I had it from like random people looking at me and being like, I recognize you from someplace.
Yeah, I'm so glad I wore my hiking boots like every single day, just because if I was in my normal shoes, I don't think I would have survived.
I switched over, if you didn't notice, for day 2. My feet were absolutely brutalized after Friday. I woke up in the morning, Saturday morning, I was like, I can't, there's no soul to these shoes, and I'm standing around doing shit all day, like, no.
Well, I had the day before the first Fanfest day, that was the Wednesday. That was when I went around with my girlfriend everywhere, and we did 50,000 steps or something ridiculous. And just from that point on, I just had pain in my feet, so it just got worse and worse and worse over the week.
Yeah. Drake got to see a fun thing of me losing my voice at the Lebowski bar.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't. The Wednesday morning I couldn't talk. You get a bunch of drunk nerds in one room. You're all screaming over each other. It's pretty entertaining.
It was very loud at the Lebowski bar. Yeah.
That's how you know you had a good time, when you talk so much you can't talk anymore.
Yeah.
It's just that everyone was shouting, so you had to shout to hear someone.
Yeah.
And then they can't hear you, so you shout a bit louder. But then you shouting louder makes other people not be able to hear their conversations, so they go louder. And it's just it's like a reverse domino effect game, worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. But it was still very, very enjoyable, so... So besides that, we had our, shenanigans and fun, at FanFest. You guys want to kind of roll down the topics? I guess let's get the one we'll talk about the least out of the way first. The mobile game that's going to come to computer too. It's a cash cow. It seems interesting to a degree. I just know that, Wallet Warriors will do it, and I've played a couple of those games for free, just to see what the fuck was going on with them before, and yeah, no, I'm not that kind of gamer. I am not going to throw money at a mobile game.
I need to change my input device for a second. I didn't realise it's going through the wrong mic, because this may get loud.
Testing. I was trying to mute it before when I was coughing, and I realised it was still miking up.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's good.
Much better.
Yes, but the mobile game is just a fucking mobile game. It's a skinned version of Astro Kings or the any of the zombie ones, like Fight for something for Survival or whatever.
Yeah.
Where there's a hex-based grid map, people are on there, and you have to level your stuff up to get power, and it gets exponentially more and more expensive, so you have to spend more and more money if you want to do it quickly. It's just a pay-to-win thing. But on the flip side, it costs fuck all to develop, fuck all to maintain, and will potentially rake in shitloads of money. So, potentially, it could be quite a lot of money that's being funneled into the development of EVE and Vanguard.
Yep.
Interesting.
So are we talking real-time multiplayer with this mobile game? Because, some of these, they're kind of turn-based, right?
No, it's real-time. So, it's... I don't know if you've ever seen, The Lord of the Rings, War in the North. Astro Kings is the first one. There's loads of ones like that.
Yeah.
that is just there's a map and you can move 1 to 5 armies in that map and you can fight and raid and there's objectives like weekly and monthly objectives. That's basically what it is, like on a permanent cycle.
Like a 4X game, real time, but kind of turn based at the same time.
Yep.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not
Turn-based at all.
turn-based. It's all...
Yeah, it's just real time. Well, real time is in you tell things to go places. You can't like micromanage shit at all. You level stuff up. You level stuff up. You make your fleet, which will be comprised of like 4 or 5 different units and then a hero character or something. And then you make that fleet go somewhere to fight PvE or to fight enemies.
collect
And then
resources.
it just like also plays out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting on the... It'd be fun to play if I could play without people. I would actually play it.
I'll probably play it, but I'm not going to put any money into it because fucking black hole of money. Because
Yeah.
there's always something behind it
Yeah.
that you still need.
Is it possible to play Echoes on a tablet?
Yes.
Well, I cannot stand touchscreens. I tolerate them, but that's the problem I ran into. I just did not like playing that way.
On the tiny little screen on your
Yeah.
phone. Yeah. All right. Let's kind of shift a little bit because I mean, we might play it, we might not. You know, we know what it is. It's a game for your phone that eventually will come to PC. I think in next year, end of next year, or beginning of the following year. The tabletop game is coming out too, that was
That
pretty
looks sick.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah, like everyone, there were so many people like playing the demo.
yeah.
And you can see that they've already got expansions planned because they like Kickstarter box that they've teased only had like 3 ship types of each faction, and then if you saw on the table there were like 5 or 6 ship types of each one, so they've got like extra battleships and stuff. So they're already planning expansions, and the board they had was like huge.
Yeah, they did
compared to
a 2x time or a 4x time like blow up of everything to show like a big example of it so everyone could see it. It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and apparently it's like a modular thing, so you can just add more and more stuff. So the more expansions you buy, or just buying the same box over and over, you can have bigger what do you say, campaigns. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks cool to nerd out with friends that might not play and can drag other friends into it if you play tabletop games.
Yeah. Go on.
I was going to say, it sounded like they were trying to get as many EVE mechanics, PvP mechanics into this thing as they could. Things like signature radius being represented in some way.
Yeah. Yep. They were trying to cram as much as they could into it. I've heard that they want to add potentially wormholes into it as like their next expansion.
It's pretty cool idea.
To add a mechanic like that.
It. My only gripe is that the models for the battleships are just a bit too small for me to paint the Panther in however I want it to be. But
you need that single hair brush, man, and a very steady hand.
I need to find a horse and just pluck a single hair and not get kicked in the face.
Yep. But yeah, that was pretty cool to see. Rick's did a lot of work for art for them, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Our lore master is now a CCP member. That's some other news before we get into the big chonky boys. Uriel's CCP Demiurge now?
Demiurge, yeah.
So that was interesting. I literally caught I think I walked in when they were like, "Oh yeah, Uriel, or as soon to be known, CCP Demiurge," and I was like, "Wait, what? What the fuck's going on?" So that's cool because they were doing, as now we'll lead into the Zarzak stuff before we get into Havoc. That is pretty fucking cool. Drake, you can hold off on your funny stories of what some people were doing to people in system.
I mean, the patch, from what it looks pretty sick. The fact that you can actually turn One, you'll be able to turn low sec into pseudo null sec, where you can launch bombs and interdiction bubbles, which will like really shake things up, which is pretty cool. And then we're going to probably see a load of rage from the first time a high sec one goes to pseudo low sec. And we asked them about this, saying like, what does pseudo low sec mean? And they just said all actions are suspect, not criminal. Like all criminal actions, like ganking and whatever, become suspect instead. And then everyone's just like, hell yeah, except for this poor dude next to me who is, I believe he was like an incursion runner or something. He was just, like, he's never left high sec in his life, and he was not happy.
Yeah, he was a little bit salty. He was, because it came up, like, he actually brought up the fact that there's trig minor victories that are, in those, because it's 0.7 systems of high sec is the highest that can get flipped.
Yeah, so
to that pseudo low
and higher. Yeah, 0.8 and higher can't be affected. So no turning Jita into
low
sec, which would be really funny, but unfortunately not.
But he brought it up.
The fact that,
I was about to say he brought up the fact that like there's trig biter victories and Iddon biter victories and fortresses that are in some of those systems, and what the mechanics are going to do. And the team is like, we know they're there. We don't know exactly how we're going to address it, but some of the mechanics might affect that system. And I was like, sweet.
a lot of their answers to how's it going to interact with X system that's already in the game is just fuck it, we ball. Let's just find out.
Well,
which is like the perfect way, as long as nothing goes horrifically wrong and like the server dies because of it.
Yeah.
Like that's the best way. It's just like, it's a sandbox. We don't know. Let's just find out.
Let's find out. Well, when I talked to Aurora for like half an hour at the party, and her response to it was, we as a team and as the company don't want to get rid of the minor victories and the fortresses because it makes Eve more alive and dynamic. And she's like, because I basically walked up to her because Kylon, when we had her on, or anytime we talked about faction warfare, it was, we want trigs to fuck with faction warfare. So I actually, I saw her, I walked up to her, and I was like, for all the hounding we did saying, give us something to fuck with faction warfare players, you actually did it. Not the way I wanted it, but you did it, which means I'm taking part in this because I want to fuck with people. And we got to talking about that a little bit, and she was like, we don't know what we're going to do in the future with them yet, but we don't want them to disappear because they add an interesting mechanic that makes Eve feel more alive. And I'm like, yeah, like me laughing when trig neutral people get blasted by gun stars and trig minor victories, and I make fun of them for dying. But
you still get the odd people that complain saying, like, how dare they put this in high sec?
Yeah.
And things like that. And it's just like, there's a big ass warning when you go through. If you didn't read it,
yeah.
Head up to you.
Yep. I mean, I leave those on just to double check for myself when I'm going places. But, and then the low sex, here's the interesting thing. Because I don't think, has that panel, I haven't checked CCP's recorded videos yet, because I know they said they were going to hold off on the panel stuff.
The only panel I know about that was uploaded was the Vanguard one.
Okay.
By Denny Fleetfoot, and then CCP said, please take it down. So I assume they're going to upload it.
Yeah.
Later down the line. So.
Yeah, I think they said well, that's what they told us in the panel, is they'll upload it later. The other thing that was brought up was the low sec ones, which was pretty damn cool. Low sec getting flipped. They're like, there might be bubbles and bombs activated now in low sec because it'll be pseudo null.
Yeah, that'll be mad. And also they're changing up the shipcasters, making them not worthless.
Yeah,
the ship be quite cool. Although the again is going to annoy a lot of the making them useful will annoy a lot of the low sec small gang players, because they've been complaining about projection and things for a while, and this is just yet more projection. And Zarzak is, like, as we've seen so far, is pretty kind of oppressive now, because Frat essentially has somewhere to form instantly and go to anywhere in the game within 10 jumps now.
Yeah.
Not even, like, they're utilizing a little bit of antiplex to get to I can't remember which, like, GTAC or whatever is their system where it's closest to. But they the other day where they just mass formed a load of people, went straight through Zarzak and went out into Turner, and I think it was Snuff that was on the receiving end of that. I can't remember which. But it's the exact opposite of what people have been asking for. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to get changed. It's probably going to be a polarized thing where you can only exit the way you entered or something like that. Is what's being floated around at the moment. Not sure if that's going to come in for a while or not.
Yeah. At least, well, just to backtrack a little bit, since you guys didn't get to see like the panel, like brought up questions, the shipcaster for the pirates is going to be like an FOB. So,
So
when you
teleports you directly to the structure.
Yep. So when you go through, you'll be right next to the structure in tether range. So like it's going to be a tetherable structure if you're aligned with the pirates, and you'll basically land in tether range, and you can dock up if you want. It'll be dockable. And then the question I know that you guys might pose right away, because I know how Zeeroak and Kylon think, is they will have a step down. So if you leave assets in there, you will have time to pull your shit out before that FOB disappears.
And I think he'll go to asset safety anyway, so most likely.
So it is
interesting.
Yeah, the mechanics and everything is cool. I like the idea behind it. I really like it, and I like that they kind of teased the whole Saw of warfare and Saw of Frightline systems for nullsec. Like, hey, we're gonna kind of get rid of this way of doing current warfare and change it up. That it's not like the current method.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with that though. So basically, they want to move this. Kind of hinted that they want this chaos system, a corruption system, to be in nullsec, but the way you build corruption is via PVE sites. So it's saying, do you have to do PVE sites to flip someone's system in other things? I don't know how they're going to do that. Be interesting to see. But
it was just hinted at.
But they're obviously gearing for another Fozzie Sov.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it'd be interesting to find to change up the mechanics again in nullsec. I mean, how long has it been since that's been touched?
For a while. It's been
7-8 years.
5.
5?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. No, 5. Not 5.
Oh, yeah.
I was just thinking to myself.
I know. I thought it was a while ago, but then again, I wasn't playing at the time, so I wasn't paying attention to you. But it's I think what they want to do with the pirates and all that jazz is great. They did broach the topic of they understand that they have to fix how broken and expensive some things are.
Mm-hmm. Or the other pirate capitals.
Yeah. So, the sweet note is Sutonio's the one that kind of worked on the destroyer and the battle cruiser, so Sutonia probably gave him a favorable touch, and then Aurora worked on the dread, the angel dread that everyone's wanted forever.
Titan.
That was Titan. Yep.
Yeah. The dread's not out yet. Still no capitals.
So just to take a slight pause for the triangles that get mad and always, we always talk about it, wanting more Triglavian ships. We probably got a little while to wait. Because I have a feeling they'll go through the other pirate factions. They have to introduce the Deathless faction, flush out all those, and maybe we'll get a light touch of more ships down the line.
Yeah, and I'm sure they will.
I mean,
I kind of don't really want to see what a Mortis destroyer looks like because the Garma's already annoying enough.
Yeah.
And then a battle cruiser which just has like just a smaller version of the Barghast. Like it's just guaranteed to be good.
you don't want to see it, but I want to fly it.
But yeah, I do want to see it because they are actually easier to hit than the destroyers are easier to hit than Garmas because they have less speed and more sig.
Yep.
More damage.
Yeah, so I imagine they'll go through the other factions and kind of flesh out the pirates more before we get to touch. But lore-wise, just by the stuff that's been going on with the shipcasters and shit like that, you could see them maybe sneaking in a little trig thing somewhere of the trigs getting pissed that their technology is being used. Which would be a nice little touch.
Mm-hmm.
Redirect it to the home system gate.
Yeah. Give us home system gates that warp us into something. Well,
or just a patch that just says Drake was right about everything. Here's a list of changes he's made to Poshman, and it just fixes the region. All the shit you've ever wanted fixed.
For the next, 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so, I don't know about you, Zeeroak or Kylon. Do you guys have anything you'd like to talk about for Havoc or Zarzak?
So for me, Zarzak, I just think I know why people worry about projection. I know why people are, nervous about it. I just think it's funny that certain people, certain groups are nervous about it, right? Because suddenly you're hearing about poor old Snuffed Out and how they're going to get, third party on. It's just, what on earth are we doing? Why do we care about that?
Yeah.
It's not really the fact that Snuff got dropped on, which is why it's a problem. It's just that projection itself is quite toxic to the game. And this is probably the largest projection system that's been put in place since Poshman Filaments, since the Poshman Highway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see on the map 2,000 pilots up in decline, very close to the entrance to Zarzak HTAC.
I mean, I understand why people are nervous about the map getting smaller, and certain groups, I imagine, are genuinely worried about it. I just think it's funny that out of say 10 groups that I've heard complain, 8 of them are solve null alliances. I'm like, you're complaining about projection? Are you serious?
Yeah.
But Brisk isn't complaining. Brisk loves projection. He just injects projection into his vein every morning.
He mainlines it every morning. Yeah.
Yeah, he just has a line of Ansiblex on the way to work.
Yeah. No, I mean,
yeah. Speaking to Luke, Kazanir, and Pando. Who's Pando? We were talking about the projection from Zarzak, and they said, yeah, we said the exact same thing when we were on the CSM. Just say it's far too powerful of a tool, and putting a little ISK cost on jumping is not going to change that because the ISK cost is negligible to the content that it can provide. The same thing with Ansiblex, oh yeah, but it's got a small cost to use. Yeah, but the upside of getting it, is multiple orders of magnitude better than the cost.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I can see all sides of the argument on that one. I think there will need to be some touches to it just so it doesn't become a toxic cesspool of projection, but it also should have some projection. It comes back down to that, you shouldn't have multi-thousand member alliances taking advantage of something that other people are going to want to use to just.
Yeah. Well, it's essentially a stable wormhole has 4 exits. It's basically Thera that's not mass limited.
Yep.
Mass limits were kind of why wormholes were so like reasonably balanced. Like one, you can't really control where they're going to end up. Yeah, you can roll holes over and over again to roll the dice, but even then, you've got a certain amount of mass, and that's it. So you need to try and roll it to find it again, and the enemy can fuck with that mass.
Yeah.
Whereas you can't really fuck with
Zarzak.
a 5 million ISK fee to go through Zarzak customs.
Yeah. I don't know when it's going to happen. This is just another little panel note from the panel on Havoc for Havoc. But we were informed that they are going to, for us old timers who have fucked up our standings with a lot of different factions, they're going to put together a guide on what to do to kind of recover your standings, which is a nice little touch. Because I know I need to fix my standings. Angels isn't as bad as I thought. I'm actually positive with Angels, but my Garistas is negative 9.99. So I have royally screwed that one up.
I'm like -5 with the Angels at the moment.
I was nervous for a little while because I wanted to join the Angels right away once I saw the ships. Mainly because Destroyer with vertical supremacy, I was like, I need that ship.
I mean, you can have the ships without joining Angels.
Just
buy them off the market.
Yeah. But I was like, I want to go Angels. And then I started thinking, I was like, did I fuck my Angels standings up? And then when I logged in on Tuesday when I got home, I quickly looked at my standings really quick and went, oh, good. It's like 1.2 or something like that. I was like, I knew it was Serpentis.
I'm still fairly sure that the factions... I could be wrong, but I think the new factions aren't going to be like the base factions. Like the ones you join aren't the actual Angel Cartel. They'll be like Angel Cartel, Deathless Wing or some shit like that. So then suddenly the standings are 0.
Yep. And standings requirements that might be put in place are not going to be positive. They will probably be low negatives. Not like low negatives is like -10, but that close to neutral range where you should be able to apply to join the pirate factions, which is cool. That's a nice little nod to the fact that, most of us, when we start playing this game, if we don't... I didn't join the Corp when I first started playing, and I ratted a lot and missioned quite a bit in certain areas and ruined a lot of standings. So
yeah, I did the same.
So a lot of us who were like came into Eve. Well, for me, I'm just saying from my perspective. I know a lot of other people did it too. At least back in the 2000s, when we didn't have like Discord communities and stuff like that. Like I'd log in and just play by myself and kill rats and make pennies, just to buy another destroyer or something and keep having fun because I still do it to this day. I'll log in some days and I'll just rat because I find it entertaining. I can kind of zone out. I have fun grinding escalations. Occasionally, I'll get like a 300 million ISK drop. And I'm like, cool. It paid for my ammo for the next month. So, they're at least paying attention to us, which is nice. That, my girlfriend, the second I brought up, like, oh, if I'm coming back to Eve, I've got a bunch of stuff to do. And she's like, why don't you just create a new character? I'm like, it doesn't work that way. I have 160 million skill points on my character. I'd be starting back down at 1 million skill points. Not starting that grind over again.
You just need to buy 1,000 skill injectors. How much does that cost? That's only a trillion ISK.
Yeah. Too much. Nerds. All right, so Vanguard. I will get one thing out of the way, just to say it up front. I kind of wish that they didn't lie. I don't know if it's necessarily a lie, but the way they did the alpha play of it either was B-roll or they purposely scripted it very well. And it kind of... I don't get me wrong, I think Vanguard could be an amazing game to play. And I'm actually very interested in it.
It was obviously B-roll.
It was...
By B-roll, I mean it was a specific build just to showcase exactly what they wanted, and it was scripted.
Yep. And it was, most likely pre-recorded, because you could tell by reading of the script of what's going on.
It wasn't pre-recorded, but they practiced over and over again.
Okay, yeah. It was just that moment of like, you understand, like, you give something to EVE players, you give EVE players a rock, and we will make a rocket ship out of it. Like, we're gonna fuck with this shit. So it was that moment of like, I get it, you want to showcase what it is, which, don't get me wrong, I'm actually very interested in it. But it was just that like, alright, dude, it's a little too scripted. You could literally just be like, here's alpha gameplay, and kind of go through it, instead of the way they kind of did it.
But they're on the hook to impress the shareholders and the board at Pearl Abyss, so
yep,
have to go pretty corporate with it, which is fair enough. Like, they've shown the build they have and what they want to go for.
Yep,
which seems to be, although so CCP Shortfall absolutely fucking hates it when anyone says, "Oh, so it's like Tarkov," because everyone's saying it, and he really doesn't like that. He gets really annoyed. It has Tarkov influence of being PvEVP, and having an extraction, but it's not. You have an X amount of time to extract, or you die, or whatever like that. You can be there for as long as you want, and he said that missions on certain planets could last hours or even days. So it's not like a one and done 20-minute session thing like Tarkov is.
Drake's the one to ask any of your guys' questions to, because he was on the panel.
I am. Yeah, well, it depends on the question, but most detailed questions I am literally not allowed to answer.
No, I know what you mean, but like you can actually respond to some of the stuff you heard in the panel, because I stepped out because I was hungry, and I got a message from Drake being like, Zao and I are standing by the door. This room is full. The overflow room is full, and I was like, well, fuck it.
It was so packed that if you saw Zao by the door, it's probably after I left. Because I was sitting next to Zao. Yeah, so the panel absolutely underestimated how popular it was going to be. So the panel was packed, then streamed it via like a private YouTube link to the stream in the chiller area. It was called Central Point. That was like twice the size of the panel room. That was packed. Yeah. They streamed it somewhere else, and that was packed. The panel room, I think. So there's so many people that are interested in it.
Yep. I do not know what you could get for EVE for doing stuff in Vanguard more than skins. That I do not know. I just know that you'll be influencing the chaos factor.
So starting out, you in the corruption system will either allow spawning of or seed missions in Vanguard, and then Vanguard will go to places in that area, will be on the planets there or whatever, and will help the corruption systems. The EVE link, if it happens, which I think they will, so I guess when it happens, then it's probably going to be via the planetary customs offices.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll. We don't know enough details yet. It's still pre-alpha. I registered as soon as I could get the website to work.
Everyone did. As soon as it showed on the thing, so everyone's heads down, and a load of lights appear.
Yeah,
all little phones. But yeah,
I tried it there, and it kept sending me to a. It couldn't connect to the website because so many people were flooding it at the same time. I just gave up.
It's good news.
Yeah, I think I did it at like 10 o'clock at night that night. I finally managed to get the website to actually properly work and registered.
Yeah, but from the reception seems to be pretty good. It's not going to be out until, I think, they said like 12th of December or something like that.
Yep.
And then it's going to have this link from day one, which is a little bit unsettling because the feedback from Dust when Dust was around was Dust was a really good game that wasn't able to stand its own 2 feet.
Yeah.
It was always like had to be tethered to Eve, and that tether kind of messed with it performance-wise. So, like the thing to learn was have something that can stand its own 2 feet first, and they've not done that. So, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm very interested. I like the PvE aspect of it. I never played Tarkov. I was interested in it at one point, but I'm very interested in playing this. Like it looks cool. Like they brought back some weapons from Dust. They added new weapons. Like it looks like fun, and I like that they added all the like environmental factors.
It was pretty funny that nobody knew what a bowhead was. They're in like a crashed out bowhead, and everyone was like, "What's a bowhead?"
Wait, what? What's a bowhead? I mean, I owned one of those. I think I still own one.
It's one of those things. If you really want to, lose a freighter, then the bowhead's the one to fly.
Well, I did it so I could bring in hundreds of Domovics into Pochvan for Domovic Swarm. Because flying them in one at a time was a waste of time. I think I brought in like 74 on the first trip and like 30 some odd on the second trip.
Would have just used what's it called? The deep space transport.
Yeah, I could have, but yeah, it was, very first Totality Day celebration, and I needed to get a bunch of shit in quick. So I went with the fastest method I knew because I was trained into a bowhead on one of my ults. Yeah, Totality Day is in its 3rd year. I should kind of make an announcement. It's almost like 2 weeks away. So I guess I'll announce. The only thing I'm going to do is... Yeah, it needs to be a special one. Fuck. I'll have to reach
Isaac was looking at doing... It's October 13th, by the way.
Yep.
Usually, or in the past, we did stuff all throughout the week. But Isaac was looking at doing a Kikimora bracket tournament in Coma.
Be interesting.
So isn't that what Mel wanted to do? Kikimora proving ground thing.
Oh yeah, it's Mel and Isaac putting that together.
Okay,
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
What day of the week is October the 13th on?
It's next week, Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Oh, Friday.
Cool.
Friday the 13th.
Yep.
For Totality Day.
For spooky, scary triangles to do shit.
I will probably try to do the mining ship combat fleet again. That's always fun.
My parents will finally be back in town. I have to go down to my parents' place that weekend. So I actually might do it on Totality Day. I might be able to pull off 2 fleets for Domovic Swarm. Do an EU Central, like an EU time zone Domovic Swarm fleet, and then I'll do a US TZ Domovic Swarm fleet. Because I will be MIA visiting my parents. So yeah, we'll have to mull this over. I like how this is super impromptu Totality Day planning.
We've been a bit distracted, but we've got the entire weekend.
Yeah. So I'll at least do that on Friday, and I'm bummed I'll miss Care Bear's Revenge or Care Bear's Revengiest fleet. Something like that. I don't know what you'll come up with, Kylon.
I have to think of something since it's the 3rd.
Yeah, it's the 3rd installation. Yeah, so I'll have to pass it around. I'll probably make a Reddit post if I was just talking with. We're just chatting in Twitch stream chat. So I think a couple of us will chat this out. Probably put together something really quick. I do have some stuff we can hand out skin wise for trig ships. For some of the other stuff, or for Care Bear's Revenge or whatever. So we'll get that organized and get out a Reddit post.
Cool.
All right, we've got a little bit of time because I'm going back to my trying to stick to that 1 hour. Got a little time before we wrap up. Anything else from FanFest you guys want to kind of touch point on? It could be something we already touched on. You want to talk more about, or?
Oh, I heard that Zarzak is a series of linked abyssal pockets, and that those are the only things you can warp to there.
Yes, this is true.
It's pretty wild. Warping through there is kind of trippy too. So.
Yeah, there's 5 grids you can go to. There's the station where you can't cloak because the station is fucking huge. There's the 4 gates, and there's the sun / which is also where the Grove Observatory is, and it's also where the shipcaster is. And there's a generally between like 75 kilometer radius and 160 kilometer radius safe zone. And then outside of that, you take percentage hull damage every like second or so after a small spool up. And there's basically, you've got 30 seconds to get inside or you die. Unless you rep your hull, at which point you've got like 1 extra second.
But you can't like fit a hull repper and like survive out there, as far as I can tell. It would be too slow. Yeah.
Well, you could potentially do it. No, you probably could do it with like a tinker setup or something like that. But like going back and forth.
Yeah. If you dove out,
I might do that tonight. I've got an idea. But, the issue is the percentage speed spools every second. Like it's kind of like a trig gun. So the percentage damage you take gets higher and higher and higher every single second. I assume eventually you'll just die. If it spools up to 100%.
Yeah.
So
I almost lost a pod in that area. Like I'd warped the pod in a gated range, and I'd warped it too far at range, and it ended up like in this void stuff. And the pod survived because you can warp out when you're outside of those bubbles. You can still warp out. So I survived. I managed to keep the pod. It turned out it was my learning clone. But anyway, more on the fleet I run that day, right? I learned a few things about these Zarzak gates and stuff. So on the low sec side of the 2 low sec systems, there's no gate guns. So, you could theoretically like engage people on the low sec side without worrying about gate guns. But the gates themselves, like the spawn, when you spawn a fleet in, it's like 100 kilometers potentially between you and your fleet mates, at the biggest point. It's ridiculous trying to like anchor up, right? I mean, imagine you've got a fleet and you need to anchor. It takes like 3 minutes for you all to get together.
Yeah.
Because it's dead space as well. You can't warp to each other.
So yeah, on the gates, fairly uncampable. On the Zarzak side, anyway.
And it feels the same on the other side, apart from the fact, of course, the other side you can actually warp to each other.
Yeah.
Also, I noticed I can see little distortions in the space-time fabric when people are taking the gate into Zarzak. Like I see a little, I don't know, distortion, and it's even that you can tell that someone's cloaked there, essentially.
do you mean the big hologram on the gate?
No, I mean, I could have just been tripping, but I could swear you could see where people spawn in when they jump.
I definitely felt like there were some effects when you land out of warp or when you warp off when you're on those grids on the gates, like electrical disturbance almost, kind of like little like lightning bolts stuff and that. It was very... Anyway, a few of my fleet mates, their computers crashed. It's definitely intense.
Something was going on there.
Yeah, I am interested in going there. I know I'm just going to take something stupid and die there just to at least see it. I don't know when, but I kind of want to go there.
Seems like the best way I've been getting there is through Attila and Potion. It's been bringing me out about 5 jumps from Alsabonia.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have to figure something out. I know I want to venture there and just see some shit. See it really quick and be like, I at least went there. Before I go to my grind to grinding angels standing, so anything else? Anything else? Because that is, I mean, I know that is our hot topic, is all the new mechanics that are getting introduced. I do like that they're keeping Titans out of faction warfare areas, which is nice. Well, capitals, I should say, because they don't want to mess up faction warfare too much. Which is kind of a bummer, but I'll never be able to fly an Angel's Titan anyways, so I'm not worried about it.
What's specialties does the new Titan have? Is it?
Oh.
It's basically an arty. It's an arty god.
Yeah.
It has an 850% damage bonus to
It's Christ.
autocannons and artillery. It has 1,000% bonus, and it has a bit of extra rate of fire. Got some extra warp speed. It's got an extra slot somewhere.
Yeah, it basically just imagine a DD capable Mac that just is an arty platform.
It's a beast.
It sounds like people want to use it like the Tornado, but instead of a Tornado fleet, just one of them.
I mean, it work. Yeah, it'll be interesting when that thing comes out. I know the Noblocks will get one super quick, but
Well, they need to grind the LP first.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. But once they have it, you know, it'll take no time at all for someone to have one.
Sure.
It'll be pretty quick for the nullsuckers to get one, because you know everyone and their mom's gonna want one. So, trying to think. Besides the drunken debauchery that was going on at Fanfest. I may or may not have bought a beer once or twice at Fanfest before, like, the first panel started.
What was the weather like in the? Oh yeah, you guys saw the aurora while you were there.
Yeah. I can upload an image actually. 1 second.
I did not.
That's interesting. I got some amazing pictures. I need to find them.
Looked like it was real strong.
Yeah. They all appeared too late. I was driving up to, like, furthest points away, like 4-hour drive away from Reykjavik. So my girlfriend and I were exhausted a lot of nights. So we were, like, one night we were actually looking. Well, there was the night that Drake saw him in Reykjavik. And he was like, you should go look out. You should go look outside.
Literally 5 minutes after we all left that restaurant / bar, and we're like above. In fact, I can get that picture because that's in the shared chat together.
Yeah, it was. I got that message. I didn't see it until we got home because I didn't want to pay roaming fees. So, like, I walked through, got Wi-Fi connection, that came through, and I was like, I'm not turning around and walking back outside. And I just brushed my teeth and fell down face first into the bed.
Okay, I can't seem to find it. That's extremely annoying. It'll be here.
Because I missed the Thursday registrations, which I'm happy I did, according to how long it took to get through the line. So I was actually the first person standing outside of the convention center, pacing back and forth to stay warm because it was like that morning. It was like 36 degrees Fahrenheit that morning. So it was like
That's why I
2
registered
degrees
for
centigrade.
2 days before.
Yeah.
We didn't do the night where we watched the Northern Lights when we went to the Aurora base camp. It was bitterly cold then, and we just weren't moving for like 2 hours. Like your core was cold. Where is Triglavian times?
That would be a big shock coming from the. It's been toasty for months now. My blood's super thin.
I came home. Well, I landed in Toronto and it was like 68 degrees, and I was like, "This is fucking warm." Even though it did hit pretty warm in Iceland a couple times. It was, nice. A couple days were nice 60-degree, 62-degree Fahrenheit days. And then
if you look in the Triglavian times text.
And then so like I came like it's an 86-degree day today. And I'm just like, oh, it's too fucking warm now. Like that week in Iceland already turned me into I want fall now. I want cooler temperatures. I want that 6-7 degrees centigrade.
I hate it. I really need to live near the equator. Florida. No, not Florida.
I hate winter and I hate summer. Give me fall and spring all year round.
I love winter. Winter's the best.
But yeah, I did a bunch of stuff there. Like I'd heard from Drake that the line was like 3 hours long to register on Thursday.
Yeah, it was huge. I went the day before just because we happened to be passing by the Groska.
Yeah,
and we were going between all the museums with my girlfriend, and it's just like, right, just give me a second, let me go and register because I know it's going to save me so much time.
Yeah, the line on Friday was super quick. I also was like, I was the first person there, but I was like the third person in line because I was chatting with like a bunch of different people, and like all of a sudden the door opened. I was like, oh, gotta go. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, I almost got an Eve tattoo while I was there. I almost got the Triglavian logo done.
Very nice. I managed to get 2 Eve tattoos done in the last fortnight.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was really tempted. A couple of the guys that I was chatting with, like one of the guys got a huge Garista's tattoo down like the back of his arm. And he's like, yeah, the guys running that little tattoo parlor setup that they have just to do Eve tattoos, like he charged me like a fraction of the cost he should have charged me because he just thought it was so cool to do it.
I got a Garista's one as well.
I was like, yeah, I like Garistas, but
it's just a cool logo, you know.
Yeah, the logo's great. But
not like getting your girlfriend's name tattooed on you. You know you're always gonna love Eve no matter what.
Yeah, well, I got into a conversation. One of the guys that I was chatting with, we actually got into huge conversations about Cyberpunk because I'm all about that shit these days. I saw like him and his wife got runes tattooed around their wrists, and I was like, yeah, I almost got an Eve tattoo, and he's like, why didn't you? I'm like, because I have plans and I don't want to ruin them by like just making an impromptu decision to get a tattoo. I'm like, anyone can do the Trig logo. I don't have to get it at Fanfest. It can wait until I do like some of my plans for like the base of my arms to get done, because I've always wanted to do like the Trig logo someplace obvious. So if I ever go to Fanfest again, I can just like go to reach and shake someone's hand, like a Trig logo will pop up, and they'll know right away. So I delayed that decision. Well, we're almost at an hour, so I know we got plans for Totality today. I will spread the word around. I guess we can do our usual wrap up. I haven't killed shit in the 4 months that we played. I think I killed a structure drone, or fighter. That was really it. When
Probably,
the TTP
probably-
died.
Oh yes, we probably need to form up a gigantic fleet and go harass a null block.
Yeah.
Those fleets were always fun.
I'll give you my very, very quick version of what I've been doing. For the last 4 days, I've done a Caracal fleet every single day with the intention of going out and finding a fleet fight. So I've taken 15 to 20 person Caracal fleets, looking for other fleets to fight rather than just hunting for ratters. And on the 4 days that I've run it, 4 days in a row, we've run into a fleet fight within half an hour to an hour each time. And we've died spectacularly because obviously when people want to fight the Caracal fleet, they tend to bring things like Lashaks and Nesters or Prophecy Navies or what do we have? Cyclone Fleet issue fleet with tier 2 logi. But, that's Eve, right? I didn't mind that. But yeah, just, send that message out there really that like despite the projection issues in the game, small groups, I think the smaller groups, the very small ones, are actually not that disadvantage. I think it's the mid-sized groups that are struggling the most at the minute.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy that you're getting out there and causing chaos. That's always fun.
Yeah, I will admit we are having as much fun as ever.
Yeah.
On the small game front, anyway. It's still kind of a bummer to fly into those fucking Dominic's wood chippers, but I mean. As long as we scout ahead, we can avoid them.
Yeah, that's always the thing, is the scout ahead. Last one is Drake. You murder anything recently? I'm sure you have.
Killed a few things in Podstrom, but the main one recently was Paige was out hunting Ishtars in, I believe, was it Frat Space? It was Frat Space. And this Ishtar just decided he really didn't want to die, so he walked an ult in a fax. An ult in a very expensive fax. He walked on top of that Ishtar and repped it. So we did the reasonable thing and brought a load of destroyers to fuck him up. And then they tried to bring in Hells and Nixes, so we bubbled every single warp in, and then they didn't. Brought like 4 dreads, and we still killed the minnow. And we also killed his pod. So here's the minnow, and here's the pod. And you'll notice in amazing frat fashion, pod has nothing to do with the minnow. Active armor tank.
But damn, a 2.8 billion-isk pod. Damn.
We did lose one big thing. We lost a Raven Navy issue, which wasn't too bad. Unfortunately, Aria had Hydras in. Also got potted. So after they couldn't bring in the big shit, they brought a covert Sino in directly on top of the Raven Navy. It wasn't aligned properly, so it got scrammed and had a Hydra pod. So all in all, we killed 7 bill, and we lost 2 bill. That was bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I gotta get my sea legs under me killing shit again, so I got a little bit of time before I get back to pew-pewing. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just stay tuned for Totality Day stuff. I'm sure there's going to be a couple of us chatting about it. Make sure to, if you don't listen to Declarations of War, hop over and listen to Zero, Cool, and Alec talk all the time. Otherwise, I think that's it. Right, guys? Anything else? I think we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll call it here. Probably see you guys next weekend. I don't know about the following weekend for Totality Day. We'll see with times of stuff planned, but well, until then, fly dangerous.
Bye-bye.